Ciao, io sono Roshane e leggo la storia della Cenerentola. La storia begins in the palace of Don Magnifico, the Baron of Montefiascone. There, the kind Angelina, the Baron's stepdaughter, whom everyone calls Cenerentola, does the most menial tasks. She sings a triste canzone while she cleans the floor. Her two sorellastre, Tisbe and Clorinda, make fun of her. While she does the work of a servant, they gaze at themselves in the mirror. Suddenly, an old man knocks at the palace door. Cenerentola goes to open it and is moved by the man's good manners and his worn-out cloak. She invites him to come in, but Clorinda and Tisbe throw him out. The old man thanks Cenerentola and leaves with an air of satisfaction, without making a scene. The man disguised by the cloak is in fact Alidoro, a philosopher and tutor to Il Principe Don Ramiro. If Clorinda and Tisbe had known the truth, they would not have driven him away. While the shrewd Alidoro is leaving Don Magnifico's palace, a group of knights announce the arrival of Il Principe. The Baron is very excited and tells Clorinda and Tisbe to change their dresses so they will look their best when they greet the heir to the throne. And Cenerentola, sadly, she continues to do the housework. The young and clever Principe is searching for a bride, but he wants a kind and good-natured moglie, not a woman who's interested only in his money. He decides to switch places with his servant, Dandini. This way, he believes he will find the woman of his dreams, someone who does not judge by appearances and will love him for himself. Dandini enters the palace dressed as Il Principe. Don Magnifico, Tisbe, and Clorinda greet the false Principe and talk to him. In the meantime, the real Principe, disguised in his servant's clothes, sees Cenerentola and immediately falls in love with her. The false Principe gives Don Magnifico an invitation to the royal festa, and then leaves the Baron's palace. Clorinda and Tisbe are overcome with excitement and quickly leave to dress for the festa. Cenerentola implores her father to take her with them, but he refuses. Meanwhile, Alidoro, who is outside the palace and still disguised as an old man, hears Cenerentola's plea and decides to help her. It is growing dark, and the festa has begun. In a corner of Don Ramiro's palace, he and Dandini are discussing Don Magnifico's daughters. Suddenly, a veiled lady arrives. Everybody is fascinated by her beauty. Don Magnifico sees the woman in the distance and starts to suspect that the lady disguised in a sumptuous dress is actually his figliastra, Cenerentola. The Baron cannot get this idea out of his head. In the end, however, he convinces himself that everything will be fine because he is sure that Il Principe will choose one of his daughters for a bride. The festa is coming to an end, and Cenerentola hurries away. Dandini, still disguised as Il Principe, runs after her, but Cenerentola, with tears in her eyes, reveals to him that she's in love with his servant, the true Principe. Don Ramiro overhears everything, and he is so happy. He approaches Cenerentola, and she throws him a braccialetto. letto so that he will be able to find her again. La festa finally ends, and as the guests are leaving, Il Principe can think of nothing but the mysterious young lady. He decides he must find her and make her his bride. Dressed in his own clothes, he begins looking for her, going from door to door. Don Magnifico does not understand what is happening, so he asks the false principe to explain. Dandini, with a bit of satisfaction, tells Don Magnifico that he and Il Principe exchanged identities. Don Magnifico, feeling tricked, is furious and leaves Don Ramiro's palace with Clorinda and Tisbe. They arrive at home to find Cenerentola sitting by the fire singing her sorrows. They want to vent their anger on Cenerentola, but something distracts them. It is Alidoro. He explains that a terrible tempesta has caused Don Ramiro's carriage to turn over, right in front of Don Magnifico's palace. Il Principe enters the house to take cover from La Tempesta. Everyone is shocked when Il Principe recognizes in the housemaid the mysterious young lady who had bewitched him. Il Principe declares his love to Cenerentola and he takes her to his palace. Angiolina, once known as Cenerentola, becomes La Regina. She pardons her stepfather and her sorellastre for their cruel behavior toward her, and they kneel down at her feet. Ragazzi e ragazze, la storia finisce così.